Yeah. It's the longer way to run, but it's so much fun. Fun will take the longer way around. You can take a short haircut, as is quicker, but fun will take the longer way around. What will fun do? Welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. Eight Wind is timeless. It all started with a gentle sadness. I am the holder of the continuous ball game of the Hero Twins. I am also your galactic daddy-o, sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. Welcome one, welcome all. Hear ye, hear ye. Well, Derek, thank you for joining me. Unique breed. Marcus the Great. Salute, Cleveland 260. Check it in. Well, thank you. T-Bull, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, and we want to thank Menderos Negra for making us funky. So pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them. I think the first thing I'll go is the women's championship game, which was interesting. They seem to the script seems to hold the same script almost the guys in the girls game. It's like the young sister that killed UConn. All of a sudden, Stanford stopping her. UConn got the better team, but they can't stop this girl. And I'll say this too. She missed 8 free throws. She missed 8 free throws. So just seeing how DMX in the song 4-5-1-3-2 on 4-3, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess T-Boo, I can dig it. And so that they only end up losing by 1. So you saw the script. You kind of saw the script to that. It was an entertaining game. They both played well. The young lady they put MVP did put pressure on them down the end. It was a good game. But you can see where they turn I can like see in the way the script of the game is going, who's going to score and who's going to miss. So, hey, salute. I'm doing smooth. Did you win any money on the women's game? Hey, Renetta, what's happening? But James, did you win any money on the women's game? I won a little money on it. The over and under was 128, and I knew they wasn't going to get that. It was only 107, and the over under was 128. So I made a little money like on that too. But some people gave up. I think it was 9 points, 7-9. I think it was 7, maybe 7 points was the spread instead of taking the money line. So interesting. And then tomorrow I am going to do commentary, and I'm going to do the minute that the manipulated shots happen. We're going to see a lot of it. We're going to see a lot of it. Well, I'm going to start off with who they fucking with in Prior Lake. And so Catalytic catalytic crime, which I think someone has taken mine, uh, across the nation because you can get $200 for a used catalytic converter, hundreds of dollars once cut off the car's underside. And so I think in my area they hit about 10 cars, and they got mine too. And I haven't even reported mine. So it's been a problem down here. We had an officer that died of just naturally died, so he died naturally. Like I'm reading this, going back to this catalytic converter, it says how to stop it. Local law enforcement officials say it starts with awareness. Man, these people, when they took mine, the weather was bad. And I want to say, I don't even know if they took mine in the middle of the night because I'm up most nights like this. So I'm not quite sure. Someone hanging around their car or other suspicious activity, they can call their local department. Please also pay attention when they leave their car, such as parking in a more public or well-lit area. So now another thing right here happened. I remember a couple weeks ago. This might have happened. I think this happened. This happened on the reservation. Timothy Guion was killed in June when Bradley Zipoy entered into his home in the SMS reservation and shot him. Yeah, that was on the reservation here. Ex-Marine who killed beloved Shakopee father, grandfather, found not guilty by reason of insanity. Here is the person that's house he went in was killed, and this is the young man that got away with it. I guess that young man got away with it. He's ex-Marine. And I think he walked into the house. The grandfather heard something, went upstairs, and this guy killed the grandfather. And now he's going to get off. Bradley Zipnoy, a 24-year-old, who shot and killed the 65-year-old man inside his home on the reservation. Loved ones wiped away tears and masks. Courthouse. The decision didn't come as a surprise to Guion's family. Members thought it still was a disappointment. Both parties agreed to forego a trial by jury after two independent forensic pathologists deemed Zipoy unable to determine the wrongfulness of his crime while he was committing it. Instead, they moved forward with a trial by stipulated facts, meaning Ray reviewed evidence and acted as a jury in this case. Ray determined this week that Ziploid, an ex-Marine, did indeed commit the act of killing, but he was found not guilty by reason of mental insanity. In other words, he will not be sentenced and will instead be transferred from Scott County to St. Peter Regional Treatment Center. Some of you may hate my decision, and if I were in your shoes, I might feel the same way, but I have to follow the law. Reason and insanity is opinion. That's not law, that's opinion. That's opinion. And you can hire someone for enough money to give you the opinion you want. But he went into somebody's house. The person went to see who, number one, they don't explain how he got into the house. Was the house unlocked? They don't really explain that part. So, on the 28th, Zipoy abruptly left his friend's residence, which is located on the reservation, before his driving vehicle into the neighbor's occupancy and his family, entering the home. Why was the home unlocked? Entering the home, evidence submitted on the court indicates Poy did not know who lived there or who the person he killed was. According to court documents, when he saw him in his home, he asked, "Can I help you?" Zipoy replied, "Yeah," before shooting him 4 times in front of his then pregnant granddaughter. Zippy could be seen via surveillance leaving the residence barefoot and firing his gun several times in the air, so he shot the dude and then he just act crazy. "Can I help you out?" Who was given special permission to address the court after the decision was made to the last sentence. Their father spoke, "Can I help you?" So I remember when that happened, and I thought it was odd even then. I thought it was odd. I really did. PJ, what's happening? No, not today. Oh, I'll play tomorrow. Yeah, I'll play today too. I still can't see him giving it to a mid-major. I think that was their highlight getting there. Hey, Lorenzo, there. Yep. I think their highlight was just getting there. Could be wrong, but I just can't see a mid-major winning. McDonald tried to play hero ball. She had girl wide open for. Well, I'll say this, Lorenzo. This is what was poor about the set. They overloaded the side. They took the ball out. Now, if you remember, when she went to the middle, this is where the poor coaching came in. So she had people shooters on her other side. She was forced to go to her right, which is uncomfortable for her. She's so left-hand dominant. The problem that the coach made was they put the girl on the opposite side in the corner. She should have been right there. Now, she missed several people the whole game. She forced a bunch of them. And when you force them and don't shoot them high, but on that last play, it was very poorly. It was a poor play to begin with. But that other player should have been on the elbow instead of in the corner. It was too hard of a pass for her because once she picked up her dribble, she was stuck. So if they would have put that other wing right on the elbow, she would have had an outlet. So it was a poor execution. I would have ran just a triple stack out there and then gave her a double pick, had her move the ball a little bit. I mean, I know it wasn't a whole bunch of time, but she, again, her weakness was so left dominant. But on the other hand, the better team, UConn couldn't stop this left dominant chick with bigger players and more athletic players. So, and Stanford hadn't won in 29 years, but Stanford is still not a mid-major. It is a major college. So keep that in mind for tomorrow. But she forced a bunch of them, Lorenzo. I agree. She forced a bunch of them. Yep, I agree. It was a couple times where she had people open and she didn't pass the ball. Ego's involved instead of dishing the ball open. Well, the two guard made a steal and made a good play. So the two guard made a steal and made a good play. Remember that. Suggs nasty. Suggs can go, Draco. Suggs can go. He's going to be the fifth pick overall. Watch. That's already what they said. But thank you for joining me, brother. He is nasty, though. That dude hooping. And you see how they did Suggs, though. And I was wondering if the young girl was going to force it. McDonald was going to force it because Suggs, they was pushing his shots out. Remember the other game, he was dominating the first half. This game, a bunch of layups went out. They wasn't giving him the call. He got hurt. Remember, he got hurt right before he made that long shot. So I was wondering, wow, they gonna do her like this? But she was getting the call. She went to the line 8 times and missed 8 free throws. Or she was 9. She made this, so she was 4 out of 10 or 4 out of 11, something like that. She missed 8 shots though, 8 free throws, which could have made a difference. I like Baylor money line. I think I do too. James. Yeah, I saw that, PJ. They was putting on the hits. What was the two dudes? One dude is the bass player, the other dude for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Steve Harvey talking about all of them could sing. All of them can't sing. Some of them dudes played instruments. They didn't sing. And the media tried to make the girl be not so humble, but her play didn't show it. Yeah, it really didn't. Hey, Mr. Gaming. Yeah, the verses was kind of weak to me. It was nice hearing Ernie Isley. I'll say that. I did like that part that Ernie played almost all the kind of to stay with it, keep a rhythm going. I like that part. Ernie was on, but Mr. Big just ain't got it anymore. I mean, he's got to be, man, that cat's got to be close to 80. Ernie Isley? No, not Ernie. Because remember, that cat started in the 50s. He's on Twist and Shout. Everybody remember Animal House where they's like, make it a little louder now. Ooh. Not Twist and Shout, but shout it out. Shout it out. Remember that for Animal House. It was an Animal House, but that he was on that song. So that dude been doing it since the 50s. So he's at least 170 years old. So I guess and he was wearing the chinchilla. Did you notice one of them was wearing chinchilla? I thought, aren't they all somewhere where it's warm? So why are they having chinchilla? I thought, but in a studio. So, I mean, it was nice hearing the songs. Steve Harvey gave a long ass speech that really was saying, I ain't been in front of the camera, so I'm going to just ramble because I haven't been in front of the camera. It's my time to be in front of the camera and look at me because I am the camera. So I thought, I watched about 20 minutes of it. Ron, 79. Oh, he's younger than my mother then. I wouldn't even guess that. Ron is 79. Okay, he's younger than my mother. My mother, 80. I would have guessed older. But that's how long he been singing. So wow, he wasn't when Shout came out. Ooh, wow, he was really young. He was a teenager. I didn't realize that. But his other brothers was more the singers on Shout too, anyway. But wow, he was a teenager. Because I mean, he's a year older than my father, so he was born in late 41, early 42. Because my father about to turn 78. So wow, okay, he was a teenager. So I mean, he graduated in 60. He graduated in high school at 60, if he did. So it was okay. As I mentioned, I got to see both groups live. I saw the Isley Brothers in Kalamazoo at Wing Stadium. Ernie Isley was amazing. It was, wow, what year was that? I was driving, so it had to have been 77. But Ernie Isley killed it. Who's that lady? He killed it. I got to see him live. He did kill it. I'll give that. That was memorable. Seeing him play because he came out kind of, and they let him do his thing. He probably played for probably 12 minutes, if not longer. Soloing Who's That Lady? Steve was extra. There you go. He was. I didn't give verses now. I thought it was based on your catalogs. They got to where it's based on your performance now. Steve Harvey wasn't funny. Why do people celebrate Bunny or Easter? What does the bunny mean? I'll give you that in a second. But one thing too is now I thought Average White Band was the ones that sang was the ones that wrote I Got Work to Do. Now, am I wrong about that? I thought that was Average White Band. That was the first group I heard to sing I Got Work to Do was them before the Isley Brothers did it. I heard the Average White Band sing it, so I thought that was their song. I could be wrong. But I was surprised to hear him sing that one because that was Average White Band sang that first. You know, I got work, baby, got work. I got a job, work. I'm taking care of business, woman, can't you see? Yeah, that was Average White Band. You know, the ones that made It's Only a Schoolboy Crush, pimping music. But so it was okay. But yeah, Harvey isn't funny to me. Why do people celebrate bunnies? Well, the bunny actually is a fertility thing of Esther or Ishtar. So that's where the bunny comes in. It's a fertility thing. The same with the eggs. It all comes from fertility. So you have the bunny that can multiply very quickly, and then you have the egg, you know, that is the newborn thing coming in. So you have something that can multiply very quickly with the end result being not from the bunny, of course not, but from springs life from the egg. So that's where the bunny comes from, James. Yeah, my daughter calls me early. You know, I didn't go to bed till about 3 last night. My daughter calls me early, and I forgot to give her money. I was like, damn. Because I went out to eat yesterday. I gave him cash on the tip. I paid my card, and I just gave him cash on the tip. And I was like, damn, that was money for Natalie. So I'll grab her something tomorrow. But I don't really celebrate that shit. I don't celebrate none of that shit. They know shit. They know I don't really celebrate that shit. Like I did go out to try to cook and realize that I didn't have any charcoals. And this was what was surprising. A lot of stores closed today. A lot of like Target closed. I'm trying to think. Target closed. Sam's closed. I think Walmart might even close. Costco closed. A bunch of places closed today, which surprised me. They only really closed stuff like that for Christmas, but they've changed up. They closed for Easter, which is different. I think they still sold liquor today. I don't think the liquor was closed. I had enough. So I didn't need to go get more. So I didn't. And my neighbor, my neighbor that almost blew herself up last year because she was using my igniter fluid. She had charcoal. I saw it. I'm sure if I would have wanted it, she would have let me borrow hers, but I wasn't so inclined. I wasn't so inclined. Let me see. I did too. His redo hits that fast back then. Average White Band converted the song. It says, okay. Oh, okay. I didn't hear. That's interesting, Jay, because I did not hear Ron Isley release that first. I heard Average White Band release that first. So okay, says him and Isley wrote it. Okay, it was yeah. I mean that's why I was okay. That's interesting. Are you Christian? I am not. I am not Christian. I am not Christian. I did too. They sang. They artists redo songs that fast back then. Yeah. I that was the first one I heard was Average White Band. I did not hear. I did not hear Isley's. So Average White Band's version. 70s, because Cut the Cake was probably 76. School Crush was probably on that same album. I want to say Taking Care of Business was on that same album as Cut the Cake. I think all that was on the same album. Schoolboy Crush, Cut the Cake, and Taking Care of Business. So that was probably all 76, 77 maybe. So I did too. They let the artists redo the songs that fast back then. Yeah. There's also covers that's more popular than the original. It's also a lot of covers. Oh yeah. That's true too. A lot of people cover it. Like the song there's one song that had two hits at the same time was Heard It Through the Grapevine. I want to say Marvin's hit first, and then Gladys's came and hit two. I'm not sure which one was which, but it was released at the same time. And I've always talked about the two different versions of Be My Girl by the Dramatics and Michael Henderson at the same time. I always preferred the Dramatics version. But they, and also the Dramatics released when Billy Paul released Me and Mrs. Jones. I talked about this the other day. It was about the same time. Me and Mrs. Jones was a hit for Billy Paul. Dramatics did it. It was kind of a hit. Billy Paul hit number one with it, though. Hey, Olito, thank you. Most of these holidays are man-made, like Father's Day, exactly. Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. It's Sweetest Day, too. Don't forget Sweetest Day, that made-up shit. You have to pick one day of the year to show you love. It should be every day. I agree. Roger did I heard it through the grapevine. There you go. He sure did. He sure did. Roger sure did. I was listening to Computer Love, and Computer Love was really the song that brought Uncle, what's his name from the Gap Band, Uncle Charlie, that brought back Charlie Wilson was Computer Love, because he had quit the Gap Band. And then, in the 70s, he was kind of hit a rock. I guess he got into addiction, but he was putting Computer Love, and Computer Love brought him back. And I mean, he kills it on Computer Love. He kills it on Computer Love, which was one of Roger's last hits. Yep. Roger was bad. I mean, I saw Roger a couple times too. Nothing was more of a trip seeing him come through the crowd wearing a jockstrap. I wouldn't have wanted to be the one where one of the cheeks was on your arm, because they was carrying him by the arm. So his ass had to be on somebody. That wouldn't have been a good job to me. I'm like, yeah, I can't carry you up there, bro, buddy. I'll pick up the guitars and put them away, but no, I'm not carrying you through the crowd. You got that jockstrap on, buddy. That's kind of how it goes. But the weather today was wonderful. 77, 78 degrees. Put some of my outside stuff together, put it up. I'm going to get a tent that extends from my garage. Played music outside all day. Took some short walks, and tomorrow's going to be 80. And then my son's coming in Tuesday, and it's going to rain the rest of the week. It's going to rain the rest of the week. It's going to rain Tuesday through while he's here. It's going to rain. Going to be this beautiful last couple of days. And then when I got to go to the airport to pick him up, it's Tuesday. The airport's changed. Used to you could go in there and get someone and come back, and now, yeah, since all the 9/11 shit, you either go in and pay and wait for your person, or you have to catch them. So there's a holiday where I go park and I'll wait for him to call me. And I'm like, okay, just be outside, because once they're outside, you can stop and you can load. Lifts, cabs, whatever. So, but they just don't want you. But it was a time where you could leave your shit and go in there and get somebody. Not so anymore. They keep it moving. And they got the airport where you can just keep driving in circles too. They got the airport where if nobody's there, you can just freaking waste gas. So, I figured out that Charlie Wilson on Computer Love. Oh, okay, Lorenzo. Yeah. I mean, that's back then. I knew that was him too. But that was kind of his comeback. I never saw the Gap Band. I had a chance and I didn't go see him. I want to say, did they perform at A&T? I want to say they performed at A&T. Man, I didn't go see them. Or maybe I did. I kind of that one I kind of forget. Not sure. Because I can kind of see them goofy Texas hats and them shirts. So maybe I did see him at A&T. Yeah, because I can picture them. Yeah, I did. I saw him in the big gym. Interesting. Kind of forgot, but yeah, I guess I did see them. We had like 72 in the sip with some wind. Your son going to bring in the rain? I guess so. I guess so, Lorenzo. He is, but it was nice there too. And then right now, my what is he? My third oldest son is turning 23 today. So power to him. He turns 23, and hopefully he'll come by this summer. I hope things change in Michigan. I want to go to Michigan, but Michigan is so controversial right now. They're still locked down, and Muggs ain't visiting with people. I love Charlie Wilson's voice. Oh, me too. Me too. I mean, I love the Gap Band. When the Gap Band came out, then what you have to understand is the Gap Band was a funk group. They were a funk group, and when the funk kind of went over to the Bernie Worrell started part of a synthesizer, just like another one, the Bar-Kays. The Bar-Kays used to be Otis Redding's backup band. When Otis Redding got killed, a bunch of the Bar-Kays got killed, and then the Bar-Kays, you see them. They're in Wastack. They're in Wastack. But I saw the Bar-Kays a few times. But they did a song called "Move Your Boogie Body and Dance." It was just a straight funk song. And in the Gap Band did the same. They kind of everybody started playing funk because they move your body and dance, or whatever it's called by the Bar-Kays. It was hard to tell that wasn't Parliament Funkadelic when it first came out. It was that same kind of sound, that sound that George Clinton dominated. A lot of groups started playing the funk, but of course George Clinton was the best. Watching the little anime with George Clinton in them is interesting. Dude said Rick James and them walked in on Sly Stone, and Sly Stone was freebasing just in one of the dressing rooms. Seems like there'd be a million other places to go freebase, but maybe he was supposed to perform. That could be why when I saw him and he acted weird, that could be why he may have been tripping that night. I don't know. But he came down and sat down on stage, got up and walked off stage. So I can see that I saw him walk on stage, briefly play the piano, and he walked off. Oh, I do want to mention this, since I am a smooth kind of guy. I took some of this. Now I have some capsaicin powder, and my thumb's really been bothering me, so I put capsaicin powder, which is pepper cream. It's pepper lotion, I guess. And I put that on there, and then I got this powder and put it in there, and that's why I never had mechanic nails. It's just one of my pet peeves, but it did leave me with and I left some of it on my hands to kind of see how it was working on my hands too. But so just trying it, and it's like here you can still see. I put some on my wrist. Yeah, because your hand and your wrist. So yeah, trying to see how it's acting with me. D Nice was spinning on the verses. He did a good job. Oh, that was D Nice. Okay, I saw that. I did see that. I love the spinners. My uncle loved them. Rubber Band Man, Sadie still makes me cry. Well, remember when on Not Just Knee Deep, Felipe Wynn went to George Clinton and them. It's I'm a soldier in the army of Uncle Jam, but Not Just Knee Deep. And Not Just Knee Deep, how Roger uses and this was probably before Roger used Charlie Wilson. He used Felipe Wynn on Not Just Knee Deep. Remember when Felipe Wynn comes in the back? Something about the music, it always makes me dance. And then Felipe Wynn comes in, part of the Spinners. Remember that. But he sung with Parliament Funkadelic. He's on Not Just Knee Deep. He says something about this funk music. It moves me, it grooves me, it made my flubber. Remember, that's Felipe Wynn from the Spinners. Yep. I would never thought to be so relevant today. Mike Judge, the show is comedy stories off the chain. Yeah, it is. Mike Judge shows is funny. I've watched most of them, but it is. D Nice. My mom said Frankie Beverly Mays gave great live shows. I imagine. I mean, you got musicians with him, and I don't think I ever got to see him. No, pretty sure I didn't. I think he performed in Kalamazoo in the 80s, and I didn't go for one reason or the other. I didn't go. But I always loved him. I mean, shit. I wish you well. I hope you find love too. That's pimpy music. You know, that's like really trying to get her back. It's like, I wish you well. I hope you find love too. That's Mackin music right there. And I love all Mackin music. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, Roger Troutman, but all Roger and them had this limousine service in Dayton. I mean, they was on top, but they was good hustlers. It's just the way it ended. That money thing. They say his brother killed him, so that money thing, the way it ended, is sad. Um, yeah, I never got to see them, but I love them. I mean, I really did. I had all their albums, and still several songs of them. I mean, of course, "Happy Feeling" was probably one of their biggest hits. I feel it all over the world, from deep in my soul. I wish you happy feelings. I mean, everything. It's not too many. You can't buy too much maize where you won't like it. Um, and remember, um, what was it? Joy and Pain was done by Rob Bass, and then Rob Bass was sued by Mays. Frankie Beverly and Mays sued Rob Bass, but Rob Bass made the song, a rap song called Joy and Pain, and were sued because they didn't get permission to use it. And they used a sped up track, but they used the Joy and Pain part, and it was probably copyrighted. So yeah, they had to pay. They had to pay for that. They had to pay. Mm. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, that's what they said. Bob Seger is a certified pimp. Yeah, I'm not really too much into him, but Reasons I Need You. Yep, yep. Uh, and the construction company. Yeah, and the construction company, right? Bob Seger. Okay, Smoke Toe. Can't say I was really into him a whole bunch, but I've heard a little bit. But yeah, his brother killed him. PJs, bump old ski music on Sundays in my car. Okay, okay, okay. I love Happy Feeling Jive. Me too. One of my favorite songs. Someone pointed out that they died by the numbers. I was coming from a female's house off Salem Avenue where the Troutmans died at. Wow, wow. And they did. They did. Remember Rob Bass, Joy and Pain? Yeah, yeah, Rob Bass. DJ Easy Rock. And DJ Easy Rock died a couple years ago, maybe more than a couple now, but he died. They was younger than me. And I think that brother had a heart attack or something, or died from diabetes, one or the other. But Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock don't get their credit for their turn in hip hop. They really don't, because without his song, people don't buy hip hop. People really don't. The mainstream didn't buy it before It Takes Two. That is what put rap on MTV, because MTV was killing it. When that song was hot, they killed it playing it. Remember, Rick James and Michael Jackson had to sue MTV to put the music on. And then Michael Jackson put out Thriller, and they couldn't wait to put it on. But before then, they weren't messing with them like that. They weren't even messing with them. I mean, remember Blondie put out a Rapture. Remember that? Blondie put out Rapture. That was some Pat Boone kind of shit, trying to she put out the genre instead of someone else, because Fab Five Freddy is in Rapture, and she talks about what's his name, Grandmaster Flash. So I love to follow the history of music. Just one of my things. What's that on your necklace, and how come you don't switch it up? What's this? Oh, this is Motivite. And last week I did switch. I wore the smaller piece. I have a small piece of Motivite. So the bigger piece to me seems the more neurons it connects, the more healing that it does. Because Motivite, when you get my age, it's not so much the transition, or the transition transitions your neurons into new neurons and healing neurons. So, and sometimes I wear the Verja. I wear my I got a Verja. I wear my Verja. It's the 4 Verjas. So, but it's just wearing this and the Verja. They're wondering if my hand problems are coming from my neck, and they want to do some shit on my neck. Look it up. Get an MRI and trying to see if my hand. So I quit overloading my neck because normally I would wear this under and wear the Verge over. But last week, if you look, I'm wearing the smaller piece of Motivite, but the bigger piece does help with memory because it's a symbiont kind of relationship because I can't remember something and it will start giving me the little hints. Now, sometimes when I grab a stone, the stone will tell me I'll forget the name, like I would forget that this is called Amorite, and it would kind of tell me sometimes. I'd hold the stone and the stone would say what its name is. So I switch up from time to time. David Bowie told them during MTV Interview they needed to play more urban music. Well, they found urban music had profits. What do you think about DMX? I mean, he's a cat. I tell you, the funniest DMX thing is if anybody watched his life story, and he talked about how he had to tell his wife that he did crack, and his wife says, not crack, because he goes, well, it's hard to tell my wife I did crack. And she's like, not crack. That had me laughing the first time I saw it. But I mean, this cat was in movies, he was in movies. And this cat was before the movies, was doing crack before the movies. So, that kind of stress and that kind of, that gets to you. And so he's paid, whenever the Piper was going to come call, they've kept him up stable. And when you're a crack addict and you got more money, what did Dave Chappelle say? The big thing like that will last us for a couple hours. But the point is that because you're putting those positions don't necessarily mean I don't think he ever quit. So you have, when you ain't touring, you ain't making movies, you got more time on your hands. See, they keep you busy. When you're making movies and making hit records, they keep your ass busy. When you're touring, you stay busy. But when they take the fame away and you ain't busy, I mean, look at Ike Turner. Ike Turner was bedridden his last year of his life, and somebody gave him crack. Somebody somehow thought it was a good idea to give this man that was probably in his 80s crack. He's in a bed, but yet crack got to him. Now, do you think he got out of bed and got it himself? Very similar story to Rick James. Somebody still sold Rick James some cocaine or freebase, one or the other. And, Rick James had a lot of bad habits. You saw on his David Chappelle stuff, the swelliness in him. He was already, swollen, inflamed joints, it looked. Bad habit of smoking, smoking all his whole life, smoking cigarettes his whole life, which people didn't think was wrong. It was in the 60s, almost everybody smoked. That's why a lot of people my age end up getting asthma, because our parents, there was just open smoking. They didn't think anything of it. So he had to pay the piper sooner or later. I hope he makes it, but it doesn't. Egypt moved pharaohs from tombs to museums in a parade with lots of occult symbolism. I saw that. And I said this last night about that. It had to be something different with that. To show the transfer of the grave robbing, they didn't, I can't remember them doing that before, to showing them move it. So it's something with that. They did that with purpose. They're letting them know. And remember, when America went into Iraq, that's one of the first places they went into the museum and tried to destroy a lot of that stuff instead of trying to steal it. Maybe they took what they wanted and then under a guise destroyed everything else, but that was one of the first places they took. Sandalwood. Sandalwood has such a 60s smell. You smell sandalwood is one of the first incense, kind of that 60s time, that 60s era. It reminds me so much of that. Smelling sandalwood. Why Rick James, Tina Marie pimping were where they were in a relationship. Was Rick James, Tina Marie pimping I think her child is by Rick, if I'm not mistaken, because that's Jill's cousin. I think her and Jill Jones are cousins. Never Die Alone, my favorite DMX movie. There you go, James. But yeah, I think their child. I think Tina Marie's child was Rick James' daughter. I could be wrong. I don't know for sure. But I thought that. But yeah, they messed around. But she was like, she couldn't stay with crazy forever. Whereas Prince was pimping it, and I mean Prince, man, barely 5 foot, barely 5 foot, really little cat. But musicians have a different kind of attraction from women. It's just kind of how it rolls. Mick Jagger was never a handsome man, but he knocked him down. He wasn't a handsome young man, but he still knocked him down. So trying to take the incense. I might have to snuff it out. Folks say that X got turned on crack by an older peer, and it made him addicted to it. He was 14 years old when that happened. He's 50 years old now. He's doing that for 36 years. And that's hard on your heart. I mean, cocaine expands your heart, and that's bad for you. Your heart's working harder, and it puts you up for that. So, yeah, I mean, I understand. That's why I can't see when people talk about that in their 50s and still doing, like I look at people in their 60s that still smoke cigarettes. Now, again, if you don't have fear and you don't think the cigarettes can hurt you, then that's a thing. That is a thing. But on the other hand, it's like, why keep doing that kind of thing as you're getting older? Like, again, when you're talking about him starting at 14, most girls will start smoking cigarettes at 14, 15 to appear older. They will start smoking that young to appear older. And that's the way of the world. And so you got a person, if you start at 14, and again, I know a person that she's in her 60s, still smoking. Her and her brother, they still smoke, and they're in their 60s. So. But again, if you don't feel it can hurt you, that's another way to look at it. Yeah, I heard him tell the story of someone he trusted lacing a blunt. Oh, I've had that done to me too. DMX was platinum selling artist and had hit movies crazy. He wouldn't stop by now. Exactly. Mm-hmm. You thought he wouldn't stop. Yeah. I heard him tell the story of someone he trusted. Yeah. I've had that. I had that happen to me when I was very young. I was and I think it was Angel Dust. I think this dude, because it was the littlest joint, and we got really buzzed. There was like 4 of us, and it was the littlest joint, and I was really buzzed. And I think that's what it was. I'm sure, because there's no way a little joint like that. There's no way the weed could have done how high as I was. And I'll say from that story, that might have, like the guy who laced it, that might have been the start of one of my good friends going crazy. I think that had something to do with it as well. So I don't know who he was trying to harm or he cared, but he didn't tell us. And I remember it was that green, and I learned later, I'm pretty sure it was Angel Dust. And it might not have any weight. Might have just been straight up just all Angel Dust. And I think that contributed to my friend going crazy. That's one of the few artists whose CD I bought. The Sequence with Angie B, also known as Angie Stone, made the second hip-hop record off Sugar Hill Records. Angie B, The Sequence. What was the song? Yeah, I remember Angie B, but who sung I'm Gonna Funk You Right On Up, I'm Gonna Funk You Right On Up, and then Sparky D. Sparky D still on YouTube, but I love Sparky D. She's Sparky D, Roxanne, you're through. But yeah, The Sequence with Angela B, but who was that by? I Wanna Funk You Right On Up. I still know that song. Hey, you looking over there. I want you to get up out of your chair and shake your body down. There's no time to funk around, because we're going to funk you right on a bit. The beat was funky. The beat was real funky too. I love that. But the one song I put on Facebook, I don't know who this is by, but I remember the song, because the girl goes, I went to the party for a different kind of action. The next thing I know, I started doing the Michael Jackson. And on the movie, and the Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney song, Say, 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 there's a dance where he does. And that was called, everybody was doing that shit. If you look up Say, 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 Michael Jackson, when they do a close-up on him, and you know how some dancers do the toe dance, and that was kind of part of it. And I remember the last time I saw one of my good friends in college, he later went in the Navy, but I never saw him again. But they came into my house, and I remember they sat and we smoked and were drinking, but they had just come from the club. And I remember this girl coming in, taking off her pumps. She was like, shit, doing the Michael Jackson for 3 hours in these pumps got my feet killing me. And I never forgot that. The Sequence, yeah, I don't smoke with cats like that. Yeah, and this was the thing, is we was Where we were is this. My man lived in this house here, and I think it was my best friend Jerry, but Thyron, that was his house. They owned both houses, and so his older brother and James lived in this house. So Pokey just passed. I never knew his name was Pork Chop, but we all called him Pokey. That's all I knew. But anyway, they lived like this family owned two houses next to each other. And so Pokey and James was living in this other house. Thyron lived in the house with his parents. And so I never forgot that. I just thought it was something different because it made me paranoid too. I left him. I was like, man, I would, after a couple of times, like, this got to be something different. And like my friend, I'll say this though, he had a history, his family had a history of mental illness. And I'll tell you the heartbreaking thing, and this is the thing that broke my heart. This is a guy that I know since we was in fourth grade. We went all the way to high school together. We might have not went to fifth and sixth grade together, but we played football together those 2 years. So we met in fourth grade. We played football all the way till we graduated. This guy had a better, he was going to a private school. And I've told this before about him. They came in and told me he was in the crazy ward. And I just remember going to check on him when they took him from the crazy ward to home. And his father was like, it was on me. He was like, I'm the reason that made his son like that. And I never forgot his brother said something to me one time. We were kicking it with his brother, and his brother's like, oh, don't be such in a hurry to leave, because next time you see me, I might be weird. We laughed and shit. But I know that cat had suffered with mental illness, and then one Pokey had too. And then I know his younger brother was one of the hustlers with me, and this dude had a heart attack while he was driving a car, damn near killed himself. So, but it hurt me that this man tried to put that on me, and it wasn't on me. The sequence, okay, Angie B, aka no Angie Stone, okay, the second hip hop rapper off Sugar Hill, okay. But then that cat, seeing pictures of him, he never, they tried to put him in the army sent him back. He went to the college. They said he was climbing trees at the college and shit, so they sent him back. So he told me himself he did cocaine, and so imagine somebody sneaks angel dust on you, then you go to a party and take a hit of acid and cocaine at the same time. He told me he did all those. Like, I saw him a couple of days later, and he told me that. And then saw him a handful of times. Just wasn't the same guy. He was still trying to smoke weed and shit, and he just wasn't the same guy. But yeah, sad story. Sad story. Well, thank you, Jason. How you doing? Sad story. Of all my stories, his is probably one of the saddest. One of the saddest. And he had such a bright future. He's a bright guy, really a bright student, full ride engineering school at a private college. In the colleges of like Hillsdale, Kalamazoo College. They call Kalamazoo College the Harvard of the Midwest. It is more prestigious than Michigan. Harder to get into than Michigan. And so that school, Adrian, was one of those schools. Hillsdale, Adrian, Olivet, they're all private schools. So he was on the ball, but it's, that happens. It just happens. And, that was not his, this is what did Awakened one say last night. She said that was, the choice you made. You made this agreement that this was going to happen. And, it seemed to run through the family in some ways as well. So, and his father's real name was Galloway. That name you just don't hear anymore. His father named his son Galloway Jr. Just don't hear that name anymore. They hated to put rat poison in this dude's drink. They said this dude used to lead the city in scoring back in the day. He was banging his head on the wall when I saw him. Oh, I have another cousin. Well, this would have been my second or third cousin's uncle. He was in law school, and somebody put some acid in his drink. And the crazy house I'm talking about, like where Malcolm X's mother went in Kalamazoo, it was at the Mental State Hospital. They show in the movie, that's where they're trying to show you. My aunt was in there. My aunt ended up losing her emotions as well one time, or really not one time, the rest of her life. But he ended up going in there, and he was never the same. He was never the same. Somebody put some acid in his drink and he didn't know what happened to him. So he was poisoned. He was poisoned. I know a cat, and this goes back to Kalamazoo College, and I've told this before. This cat got shot in 10th grade because he had a good game. Battle Creek was like little Detroit in the day. And one of the they beat Battle Creek, and he was on the sophomore that scored in double digits, and someone got mad and shot him in the head. Yeah. And now his grandson is playing at this private college. So I see that as a way that the universe turned itself around. And yes, the grandfather suffered, but the grandfather's suffering led to this young man's uplifting. That's kind of how it works. Now I'm going to kill this because it is getting my sniffles up. There we go. That's crazy. Why do I drink out of copper cups? Copper is, I have copper curing I have a copper vase, and it's curing my water with Motivite. So copper doesn't hold any bacteria. Bacteria can't live on copper. I mean, this is mixed copper. This isn't like my, okay, today I put the drink in here, but I don't bring my cup. Okay. I put the water bottle in here and didn't bring my copper cup. But copper will not hold any, and copper internally, copper and silver will help you eternally. Another thing I didn't mention about wearing silver, silver will become pretty much symbiotic as well. Silver will go to, like, just wearing it here, it will go to, like, your skin is a type of brain as well. And silver cleans your pores constantly. So silver, even just wearing it here, will go to all my skin. And it's actually helping clean all my skin just by wearing it. That's why I say it goes symbiotic. It will go everywhere. Won't just travel wearing it here. It will actually go everywhere. Copper is kind of the same way. I mean, copper and electricity, they still use copper and electricity as conductive. Copper can hold it. So copper to you, and if you have a refrigerator with water or even an ice maker, a lot of times when they tap the pipes, they'll give you a piece of copper. New homes have nothing but copper pipes. Older homes tend to have some cast iron still, but new homes will have just all copper, and that's a benefit. And then they tap the copper to bring it into your house, and then you have a filter. You are getting pure copper treated water in a lot of ways. Right now, I am going to order a all silver plate. I eat off silver plated forks, and I'm going to only eat off a silver plate. No longer going to eat out of the stainless steel. I'm only going to eat off silver plated. And the reason why silver forks aren't the greatest is because silver is a little more brittle, but still, I'm going to get one of those as well. You'll see most likely you won't even see silver knives because they'll break again. Stainless steel. The end will be silver, but the knife itself will be stainless. So that's why. The depots of ancient Egypt more than likely copper. The depots of ancient Egypt could be Paquan, could be the depots of ancient Egypt more than likely copper. And copper, this is the thing is copper has been mined in Michigan because I have pieces. Maybe this is, let me see, my big ball. Yeah. Or maybe I can reach my nugget. But like this nugget comes from Michigan. Copper's been mined in Michigan, they think almost 1 million years. They know hundreds of thousands of years. Because the giants dealt with copper. They found giant copper all over the world. And then here's a ball. But all this comes from Michigan copper. It's the best copper in the world. But the giants copper, or the mound builders copper, they found all over the world. So that just blows a lot of the stories away. You think they weren't world travelers because they found some of the mound builders, the Michigan copper in Kemet. And how do you explain that? How did you get there? In these giant mounds, they found Michigan copper, the type of copper. So we know people are always world travelers. Yep. Oh, okay. Was Clark Kellogg nice? I never find a lot of highlights. He was a great high school player, kind of an average college player. I'm trying to think who was at Michigan then, because Kellogg's is my age, but average. He was average. 6'8". He was a big guy, 6'8" guy. But him and Herb Williams didn't win nothing. I don't know if they ever even won the Big Ten. I know the Judge went to Michigan, Jabri. I'm trying to think who else was at Michigan them days that's my age. Trying to think like Jay Vincent and them would have played with him. He was a little younger than Vincent. But he was okay. They called him astronaut. But again, this cat was 6'8". Not a very good pro player. Not a very good pro player. Not sure how many years he played. So he was, but Kaleido Silver. I've been looking at buying and making my own Kaleido Silver. So how do you clean water with shungite? This very way right here. You get the best kind of stuff and you leave it in there for a few days. It's kind of that simple. And so this has been in here 2 or 3 days, and I've been treating my water for 5 years with this. It's like even my doctor was like, because one time I was wondering, was I getting too much copper? So I had him test me. She's like, who told you to do that? Because I'm doing something outside of her thinking. So that's how Smoked-O. That's how that very way. And then I normally have a silver cup, or excuse me, not silver, but I normally have a copper cup right here, as you know, and left it in the room. Kellogg went to St. Joe High here in Cleveland. Yeah, he was a high school All-American, and then later went to Ohio State. But he never was a dominant cat. And then when he went to the Pacers, you'd have to look up how many years he played. It wasn't a star. Him and Herb Williams, I think, both went to the Pacers. Well, no, Herb was up in New York, so I don't know. I want to say Herb played with the Pacers too for a point, but Kellogg was never killing. He wasn't James Worthy. I mean, he might. I don't even know if he'd make the college, NBA college Hall of Fame. He might make Ohio State Hall of Fame. Yep. But I remember him. I remember he was one of the names in the Midwest. I knew all the cats that was in the Midwest. I mean, Sam Bowie always got a lot of love, even though he was injury prone. Because the McDonald game started with Magic, Eugene Banks, and Albert King. That was the first, and that was just East against the West. That's how the McDonald's game started. So we're only talking about 2 years after Magic. So by the time Isaiah and Bowie and Ralph Sampson and Worthy and them was in the McDonald's All-American game, it was in its infancy. It would only been like, I think 78 was probably the first year they called it because when Magic played it, it wasn't called the McDonald All-American. It was kind of the East-West game. But by the time when Kellogg and them played in it, and Bowie and Ralph Sampson, it was called McDonald's. Yeah. But yeah, he wasn't that good. What do you use Numite for? I have some Numite. I had to take it out of my hat. It made my hat too heavy. But Numite is called the Sorcerer's Stone. And a lot of it says that this will give you protection when you astral travel, which is true. But the greatest benefit, and this comes from Australia as well, the greatest benefit, I think, is you carry this stuff, it makes you logical as hell. I mean, you become a very logical person. You do things in such a logical order that it's kind of interesting. It makes you do things really in a logical, it really brings in your habits being very logical. It's like you think, like it helps you say, well, what energy will I expand? What energy will I not use the most if I'm doing things? And so that is what Numite does. And I felt bad. I broke this. I dropped it in my pocket and broke off the tip. I got a big piece too. I've got about 3 pieces. You can see gold flakes in this, but it's called the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm pretty sure she has a little bit. I can read a little bit more. Pretty sure she has Numite in here. Yeah, 435. Because it's a very powerful stone. A lot of people ain't hip to 435. So it's worth the listen.
Here we go. Numite, the oldest living mineral, was found over 3 billion years ago. Shungite is older, but it is one of the oldest. It crystallizes in the forms of laminates. The polished form is black and nearly oblique. The large specimen usually exhibit one color in the middle, one color around the middle. However, occasionally several colors are represented in the configuration of the spectrum. The iridescent special color range from gold, copper, purple, mauve, silver, green, green blue, and blue. The mineral can be used to activate and to integrate the chakras. It provides for grounding via the chakras to both the earth and ethereal body. It aligns all the subtle bodies and both balances and aligns the chakras, useful for removing energy blocks. It's an excellent energy source, exhibiting a electromagnetic energy field, providing for a transfer of energy from the etheric body to the physical. It can be used to fill the voids and to remove the muddy areas in the auroric field. It also has been used to both feel and heal the opening which remain after removal of undesired and planet thought forms originating in other worlds. It provides for a circular energy connecting the crown and base chakra. It further provides for a spiral energy which provides for the continuality between the chakras and displaying in the purity of the ether. It has been used to teach one that bonds, the constraints placed upon a person are self-imposed and easily disregarded. It helps one to decide with the heart that which is really important to plan for and to intuit the release of the binding ideas. The mineral possesses a defending quality that is excellent preventive, which will shield one from any form of negative energies. Simply having a piece of numite on one's person brings in this protective shielding aspect of the stone, which works on the physical, ethereal, and emotional levels. That's why they call it the sorcerer's stone, because as you travel, it is a good stone to keep in your bag. It helps to protect against the negative vibration of the pollutants. Oh, time to plug it in, plug it in, plug it in. Oh, cool. It goes about an hour. It assists one in behind the facades, promoting the understanding that lies beneath words and action. It also stimulates the power of the intellect, enhancing memory and promoting recall of relevant information when it's required. It further promotes the synchronous of intellectual thought, intuitive, mystical, physical wisdom. It facilitates the transformation of intuition into intellectual thought, such as one can implement for instructions provided. It also assists ones in the verbalization of these thoughts. It assists ones to reverse changes, strength, and prevalence. So it has a lot of good energy in it, not very expensive. You can get it from most crystal shops. And I have, let me see, this was my other wand. I have a bigger wand. Might only have two pieces, maybe three at the most. Don't have a lot of it, but my big wand is more than enough. I used to carry this one, and sometimes I still do. So that's what it would be, Smokto. Numite could fill in all that. It's a great stone but carrying it or working with it really will have you, just the way you do things, you'll notice that you're just trying to be the most productive, I guess, in some ways. For businesses, they should love this stone because it really makes you think, what do I need to do first? Like if I'm coming from the kitchen to the living room, what do I need to clean up around the way? It kind of gives you that kind of insight, which is interesting. You'll find yourself being efficient, I guess is the word I'm looking for. You become very efficient when carrying that stone. Very efficient. Oh, and I got to call Brother James. I'm sure he would have done the show with me tonight, but he doesn't like to hang out too late. So I've got to get Brother James back on here, get some of his insights, because he has beautiful insights too. He hasn't been on for a couple months. And I don't know if I've even had him on the new platform. So, but I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'm going to call out the times of the manipulation. Something I kind of practiced on what I did the other day, looking at the time in case people go back and watch it, or people film it if you tape it. So if people tape it and go back, they can see the manipulation of the time. I suggest and do further evaluations on your own to see if you see manipulation or not. So that is kind of learning how to do it. And I do a divination every day as well. I'll do it in about a half hour or so, but I do a divination. I give that energy too. So don't act like a awakened one is the only one giving y'all divinations. I do it every time I come on. that's bullshitting. Do you wear gold or just silver? I wear both. Gold is for the mental. Gold helps with the mental. Is my gold ring right here? No. I generally keep it on one of my altars. I keep it on one of my statues on my altars, and I borrow it from that being when I do wear it. But I have a couple gold rings. Been thinking about getting a gold chain because sometimes Motivate does work well with gold. Yep. So I wear both, Moto. I have gold too. I don't have any more gold chains, but I do have gold rings. The refs keep the pace of the game for the point spread in their calls. Yeah, sometimes they do. Sometimes I think basket manipulation made the refs even. It was like the refs is the last hope. Basket manipulation has made the refs not having to cheat as much and because they took a big hit with Doherty. They took a big hit. Showed the corruption. And Doherty's book tells you that the worse rep you was, you'd end up the more things you messed up, you got a raise in the NBA refs. You became a supervisor the worse you were. I mean, look at how bad Tunney is, I think is his name, because he was one of the worst NFL refs ever. And look at his last game. And he did college sports. So now he's doing, they've got an ex-ref trying to convince you that it's the right call. So, all the channels have their own refs. So if you don't believe the refs there, and sometimes they but again, remember, they work with some of these people. So they're not going to call them out too often. So remember that too. But he was one of the worst refs they had, and he gets to do basketball and football. It's like ridiculous that they let this man speak. Do crystals work well with gold? Yeah, Motivite, actually Simmons. It's funny, I've never seen a piece like this in gold in Motivite. It's always silver. But Simmons, again, he's the highest authority on Motivite. Or I can't say the highest, but probably the oldest authority. And he says himself that it should be gold used with gold and not silver. But even he makes settings like this because it's cheaper. It's cheaper to make settings like this. So I do want it. That's kind of why now I kind of want to get a gold chain is just to see about that, because gold, silver and copper works inside, gold works with your mind. So gold works for the rest of the body, silver and copper work for the rest of the body. Gold will help with your mind and your thoughts. So yeah. So it works. And so most crystals will work with gold. Yeah. What do you think is better, Oscar or Westbrook? Oscar by far. If you look up Wayne Embry, used to be for a long time because he played with the Bucks, but Embry was the general manager for a long time for the Bucks. And Wayne Embry and Oscar Robertson doing the pick and roll, no one could stop him. I mean, yeah, he never won anything until he got with Kareem. And then he should have won 2 in Kareem. They gave Boston one of them 2. Kareem should have won, I think, in 74. They let Dave Cowens, that was 6'7". Yeah, not believable. But anyway, Oscar and Wayne Embry doing the pick and roll, unstoppable. And Oscar's a big dude. Oscar wasn't as athletic as Russell, but again, his shit wasn't manipulated. Oscar didn't have people not getting the rebound. Look at some of them tapes people did about Oscar or about Westbrook and how they let him get his triple doubles. Everybody was standing around, let him get the rebound. I mean, it was just people. There's videos out there. I don't know if it was Draco that made the videos, but there's people made videos and show you where Westbrook, they like as if the rebound would be near his teammate and his teammate wouldn't get it, so Westbrook could get it. So, and Westbrook would never win. That's why I still don't think the Nets is going to win. Because I don't think they're going to let Hardy win one. Do you feel any effects of playing football and basketball? Yeah, like my thumb is really, I've broken every hand. I've broken both hands. Let me think. No, I broke this hand several times. I've broken every finger. I've broken both thumbs. Um, Probably got a slight bit of CTE. Uh, had my Achilles, not the Achilles I tore, but my other Achilles had that bruised. Had both knees done, both knees scoped. Um, yeah, a lot of things. Like I was saying, I got hit in. I went to catch a pass. The quarterback threw it high. There was no reason it was high. It was open, but he threw it high, and I jumped, and the guy hit me in my back. His helmet print stayed in my back for about 15 years. So that helmet went into my back in 82, 81. It was in my back for 15 years. You looked in the back of me, it looked like it was helmets have a stripe. That shit stayed in my back for 15 years after he hit me. So yeah, I feel that's still a lot of effects. My basketball career was longer, but yeah. What really stopped me from playing basketball too was plantar fasciitis when I was in my 40s. So once I moved here and was in my 40s, getting in shape and stuff was hard. And then now I started getting plantar fasciitis, and that kind of killed a lot. And when I was trying to get back in shape, tore my Achilles, so that kind of killed it. Are you coming out of the East? Do you feel the effects? Who are you got coming out of the East? What do you mean? I like Miami. Oh, okay. I still think it's going to be the Nets. Or no, Sixers, excuse me. I still think it's going to be the Sixers. You like Miami? I don't think El Adopo makes way. Do carrots and gold determine effectiveness? It gives crystals. That's a good question. Most gold, you can get 22 karat, you can get 18 karat. Most gold now is 10 karat and 14 karat. Doesn't really matter because the difference of percentage in 10 karat gold to 14 karat gold isn't that big a difference. I think it's down to 36% for 10 karat gold. So, I mean, percentage of gold. So no, I don't think if you want 10 karat and you want to work with crystals, I don't think you'll be hurt with that. Now, if you can get 14 or 18 karat gold, probably would benefit you a slight bit more, but I don't think noticeably more. But just as an investment, it's a better investment to get at least 14 karat. But the gold difference isn't that great. You just look up yourself. And the gold difference isn't that great when 14 karat. Again, 18 and 22 karat is a lot more. But the price of gold right now is what, $1,700 an ounce. So that goes into your grams, it all adds up. So gold is really high. Really high. So no, it really won't throw you off if you can only just afford, because 10 karat gold is mostly it's a lot cheaper, but it's still the right amount of gold that would help you benefit from it. So yeah. Do high school players, NCAA players have insurance if they get hurt? Yes. High school players are starting to, but pros, that's been a thing for a long time. Like a guy will come back to play a senior year, they'll start getting those insurance policies. Yeah. That's the last 20 years, that's become more of a thing, a way of keeping them in school. That was another way to keep them in school. If you do get hurt, and there are some guys that have cashed in on that, hurt in college and, get paid and can't continue. So yes, that is high school still kind of iffy because you're with your parents. So they're not so apt to, because they'll put you on your parents' insurance. So I can't really think of anybody now. I can't think of anybody that have got that offer in high school. But college that's been a thing. It might be even longer than 30 years. Might be longer than 30 years. Right after I quit playing, I remember hearing that players could get that. And that was a way of making them stay in school or making them get their worth. Yeah. Do you like Johnny football? I did, Jason. I really thought he was the modern quarterback, a guy that could move. I just think they painted his script as being, because he was rich. They don't like people that's rich. His people had money. He didn't need to rely on the NFL. They tend not to like that. And I know a lot of people could say the Mannings was the same way, but Johnny, I think his people had more money than the Manning daddy, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't. They come from retired football money, and I'm not sure what Archie did after that. But I think Johnny Football's people had more money. I think they're in the gas business, and they tend not to like that, where he didn't have to rely on his NFL money. He always had something to fall back on. So I think that's why the script they gave him, perfect, like Joe Montana size, but more elusive. I mean, if you remember when he destroyed Alabama as a sophomore, what happened to that guy that destroyed Alabama? Moving, could throw on the run, accurate. And again, when you play on a terrible team, it's it's hard. When you play on a bad team, it's hard. And that's what he got. Now, why he didn't work in Canada, I couldn't tell you. I watched a couple of his games. He got injured. And then he got barred from the league. That seemed like the same kind of script. He played in the indoor league. I saw there was an indoor league. And I saw him playing in that. So he still loves football, but he doesn't have to depend on football. But his skill set, I mean, he won the Heisman. He destroyed an Alabama team that had all pros. The Alabama team usually full of pros. He destroyed them at home. At home. So, yeah, I've always enjoyed this game. I thought he could make a decent pro. But he didn't get hurt like the way they hurt RG3. Then convinced him to throw his career away for a playoff game. Stupid move. Don't be judged by people that just looking to win now to save their jobs. Don't throw your career away to save their jobs. And then the way Gruden did him, Gruden tried to get him hurt, which Stephen A. Smith called a criminal. He's right. Gruden tried to get him hurt. He also had Mike Evans catching a lot of those bad throws. Yeah, he had. Hey, Barbara, thank you for joining me. He did. I agree. Evans had range. Edmund had range. But I liked his ability. He looked like a more elusive Joe Montana. So we saw that work, but it didn't work for poor Johnny. But that guy ain't hurting. I don't feel sorry for him because he ain't hurting. Any light in here? No. Not really. A little bit. It's funny, this was a crystal, and I bought all of them. All the Damberite they had, I bought it all. This is Damberite, another Zoolite. And I bought all the rest of it, the whole lot, and I looked at this piece, and it was like $60, I think, when I bought it. And I bought the rest of it, but I didn't see this piece. And I was in there another time, and I just started digging through stuff, and there this was, that somebody had looked at it, and it was under a bunch of stuff. So I bought it all. I sent my brother a piece. Got to my Browns and couldn't get it right. Yeah, he did. If I had this debate with friends, I feel that sports player gets high before they go out and perform. The sports player gets high. Not most of them, not most cats. Like football, it would be so hard to well, they said Hollywood Henderson, though. He kept cocaine in his locker room. He kept cocaine, and he would snort cocaine at halftime and before the game. But I'll give you an example, like smoking weed. Like before a basketball game, you can smoke weed fairly early, and then the game is not too long after. But with football, giving you an example, I smoked a joint before one game my whole career, and that was we were playing North Carolina Central. So the game was at 1 o'clock. I smoked a joint at 7 or 8. You understand? 7 or 8, I smoked the joint because it was go eat breakfast. We had to go to Raleigh, I think Raleigh, where North Carolina Central was. So we had to drive 40 minutes, I think, 35, 40 minutes. Go get taped. I mean, so you see how, I smoked that much longer, and I still had a little buzz going into the stadium, but it was like, it's football. It's so long until you're on your own, till you go. So do you cleanse your crystals after you buy them? Oh, absolutely. You have to. Yeah. I mean, what you got to realize is crystals have been handled by so many different people. That's why I use smoke. I use sound. I use sound a lot. But another thing is the selenite. You can clean them, release them with the selenite. What I do is like this one, you can't put selenite in water. It'll vanish. you done put it in there and you leave and let it soak, it'll vanish because this is not soluble. This will go turn into water. But most crystals, like something like this, yeah, you can just run water over it. And then I hit them with sound and then oils. I put oils on them too. So yeah. Like I'll put a little oil on this piece when I get them new, not a whole lot, but just a little. But I'll hit these with sound, like this big singing bowl that I always play. I'll put crystals in there. Yep. Because what you got to figure out is you don't want to transfer. It's like I want to send my father some Motivite, but I don't really want to give him my pieces because they're kind of programmed for me, and I just don't know if they'll transfer for what he needs. I think it'd be easier just to get him a fresh new piece. But I'll cleanse it. What do you call it? You cleanse it. No, it's called something else. But I remember I gave my uncle. He travels around the world, so I gave him some labradorite, and I had cleansed it for him and everything. What is the word? I can't think of it. He said the word. I was sitting there thinking what I did. It's something you can do for it, but I can't think of it. Lawrence Taylor got high before games. Yeah, he did. Lawrence Taylor, they just found him parked one of the New York State roads. He was just pulled over, parked and drunk and coked out. And remember, he's the one why the NFL union is so fucked up, him and Joe Montana. He was fiending because, you hadn't been paid, and he was the dope addict, and they broke the picket line. And because of their action, the NFL union is weak. The sport that makes the most money has the weakest union. Baseball is the strongest. Yep. Have I? Yeah, of course. Yeah, Smoke Toe. You can clean them with sage as well. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I have. Yep. Ornate them? No, it's not ornate. What is it? Ornate? No. Can't think of the word. But yes, you can use sage as well. And sage is just good to burn all the time. I mean, sage is an antiseptic. Remember that. It is an antiseptic as well. So sage is very good to have around you. I've got to go up to the reservation and get some more sage. Because the last time when we got rid of this spirit, I had to get rid of a spirit. A girl died or was murdered in the house. And that was the last I had. That was last summer. So yep, sage, ornate. No, ornate them. No, can't think of what you do. Yeah, it'll come to me. Oh, well, let me stop and give my divination. I'm not good as the awakened one. I don't know. I'm not bad. I'm not bad either. So we have 13 platoons, 0 contunes, 13 platoons, 0 contunes, 8 tunes. We have 7 unos, and we should be on 6 kin. I do believe we're on 6 kin. Let's see, it's in here somewhere. There we go. I think that's what we're on. 6 kin. 7 kin. Oh, maybe I didn't take out the right card. Let me see. 7 kin. I did take out the right card. Okay. I did. So 7 kin is manic. Hand grasping, closure, knowledge of power of completion, realization of finiteness of physical being, and the energy is coming out the west. And just to do a little side thing, see if I can find this. See if I can find an example. Because they use the hand signals a lot. Here we go. So in Mayan writing, you'll see that a lot of hand signals and meaning, completely different things, but it's very common to use their hand. Let's see if there's any more. Kanich. Sun-eyed. And this is another way they would use a hand. And in the Toltec, here we go. In this card, we see a spiritual seeker looking for a sacred vision. The deer is one who will bring the vision. On the upper right corner, we see the symbol of Venus, the planet representing the Quetzalcoatl. The seeker is seated on the sacred mountain. The double heads of the mountain represents Omalto, the divine duality, is on the top and the bottom of everything that exists. As we can see in the story of the blue deer, Masto represents the quest for spiritual vision. The deer will bring the vision as long as we undertake all steps and tasks there must be accomplished before the deer will reveal itself. Getting this card is to call to seek the vision that will show you what your task is and path of heart will be from now on. Until the vision is fulfilled, and the time for another vision will come to you. The quest for a vision is an old spiritual practice among people of Yanni tradition all over the world throughout history. It is performed in many different ways in accordance with the cultural background of the seeker. But the basic element is isolation in the wilderness or 1 more days, often including fasting, praying, singing, or dancing. The intent is to call the Great Spirit to bring us vision that will direct our life from then on. Masato suggests spiritual intuition and awakening to a higher state of awareness. It is an omen and a call. It is up to you to find out how and when you will respond to that call. So for those, and it's interesting how to have visions. You ain't really got to do all that. One thing I'll say with on TV, they show people that get visions. And it can be just you can be doing something and a vision will pop in. It sometimes happens like that. Like I'll just be watching TV or something, all of a sudden a vision will come in and I'll catch a vision. A lot of times visions come in small parts. So you might not recognize what you see, but it can come in. Raven's house. She gets the visions, and it kind of comes like that. And then what's interesting, they show her son has the same ability to get visions. And so, and if you get a future vision and you see it playing out, again, you can't let it hold you back, scare you. You still have to move forward. Just because you've got a vision, you still have to move through it. So keep that in mind. Don't let visions scare you from life. There are times that it'll play out just like the vision. There are other times that it will be slightly different. And then you notice the changes. He's like, my vision showed this and this happened. And be aware of that, of how what you saw changed compared to how it played out. Because it doesn't necessarily, some visions come just like you saw them. Some vision, there's a slight difference. And you catch the difference. Yep. Have you ever had sleep paralysis? No, let me see. Let me get back here. Who you say is the toughest NFL player ever? I say Ronnie Lott. He was tough. Buckus, young Buckus, before they started tearing his legs up, was probably one of the most intense. Jack Lambert, again, was the only football player that ever scared me. I saw him in college. He scared me. He made me not want to play football. I was like, if that's what college is, I want no part of that. But Jack Lambert scared me. Well, probably Buckus. Ronnie Lott, probably, different generation, but Buckus before then. You watch Buckus film, that man didn't care. That man was putting it on people. So, have you ever, I've destroyed sleep paralysis. I can teach anybody. I mean, you can get rid of sleep paralysis with this. Just get 4 chunks of this, get 1 to put in your window, 4 of those to put in your corners. They never mess with this. Or you can get these little fans of kyanite, put these in the corners. It'll never come. Once you put this in the corners, it'll never come. You can even put tourmaline or schist, as they call it, but tourmaline, black tourmaline. I put a combination. So it'll get rid of that. So no. Can you get false visions? Well, that's what I was saying. Sometimes the vision doesn't appear. Like you'll see the scene, but it didn't follow the vision. That's what I was just talking about. And I know it's a delay. So sometimes the vision will be slightly different. So what I've said is it will appear you had a vision of the event or the scene, and then the scene comes to you and it's slightly different. And then it helps your foresight to see the difference. Like, this is different, this is different, this is different. And so that's the good foresight to see that. So yes, you can sometimes the vision doesn't come in the way it plays out. So that's possible. That's possible. And it may never come. Because some visions may never play out, and that's good. Yeah, because there's a few visions that's like, I'm ready for heartbreak and they haven't played out. So I'm happy about that. So I don't know if it's a false vision, but sometimes you get this foresight and it never plays out. And that's good in some ways. Steve Atwater, big guy that played safety. Yeah, big guy that played safety. I did like Atwater. Jack Lambert, Jack Lambert scared me. That's the only football player ever in my life. And I was young when I saw him, but it was like, I wanted no part of that man. Because he had no teeth. And this cat I was probably 12 when I saw him. And I don't even know why I was sitting on that side. Maybe we got tickets. I can't remember. But I was sitting on the visitor side at Western Michigan. And I was going to use the bathroom or something. And the players would come, out the locker room. And he came next to me. And I'm like, I want no part of that. That man scared me because he kind of looked at me and I'm like, damn. I had never looked at a football player like it's somebody scary until I saw Lambert live. And I'm like, I might not want to play football ever again. After seeing him, he scared me. I'm not going to lie. Jack Lambert scared me. He scared me. Again, from a 12-year-old boy perspective, but this is the thing. I grew up watching college games and high school games. I grew up like that. I never saw another player react to that. So seeing guys in full uniform, I never thought that. I had a couple cousins that was bigger than him. My cousin Big Red was 6'6", played at Western. His brother Roosevelt, they both played at Western. I saw both of them in uniforms. They never scared me. Lambert scared me. And I guess there's a difference between my cousins and seeing, but I never thought of them as scared. Lambert scared me. Just the look he had on his face, like he was intent of fucking somebody up. That scared me. A lot of great hitters. Oh yeah. Tourmaline is so expensive though. Well, I'm not gonna lie. There's several crystals that I would come back and buy. And this one I didn't buy for about a year and a half because it was too expensive. This cost me $90. It was $89 plus $90. And for a long time I couldn't afford it. But you can get small pieces. You can get chips. You can get chips, and chips are cheap. You can get the little small chips, and they're cheap. Just like the same with the kyanite. You can get the little small fans of it. So, better hitters back in the day. I mean, a lot like you looked at a dude named a guy named Nick or Night Train Lane. Dick LeBeau played with. He was one of the only players in the Hall of Fame that played with two other Hall of Famers. He played with Dick Night Train Lane, and he played with Lynn Barney. LeBeau was the safety behind both of them. So that's a hell of a combination with Night Train Lane. And when Night Train Lane played, you could still clothesline people. Watch some Dick Night Train Lane. He still holds the record for most interceptions in the season. I think it's 14 or 16. That ain't been broken. He only played in 12 games. He had something like 14 interceptions in only 12 games. Maybe 16, but no one's broke his record. No one's even come close. In the last 10, 20 years, ain't nobody even come close to breaking his record. But he was the necktie. You could necktie people. My brother was little. I'd make him run full bore at me and just wipe him out with a necktie. But you could necktie people. That was his favorite thing. Came across the middle, and just necktie somebody. The neck is vulnerable. So, yeah, it's a lot of great hitters. The old game in the 40s with no face masks, it was a rougher game. You could pile on to people. Yeah, it's a rough game. I often wonder, should I go back in time to try to play with one of these old-fashioned football games to see how I'd like it. I don't know if I'd like it so well. I mean, especially the dude, the brother that played up here in Minnesota from Iowa, they killed him in the game. I still try to figure out how he got killed during the game. I mean, that's... I imagine he ain't looking and he got, flipped or something. I don't know on the field. But, yeah, this brother got killed in the 1890s or something like that, early 1900s. They brought him to Minnesota and he got killed in the game. What's the proper way to use it? It's a lot of ways to use. Again, you can create a vortex with this. So if you wanted to have a place that you want to meditate and nothing can penetrate, you have, like I have this. Whoops. I have pieces of this, and I put it around myself. And this will give a more intense use on your meditation. This will help amplify your meditation and protect you at the same time. I keep this stuff in my windows so spirits can't come through my windows. This will be like a block. That's one of them. The second one, again, is selenite will build a great vortex for you, which will amplify your meditations. And just working with this, let's see. Let's see what she says, because this is worth it. This is worth the listen. It's so many different uses. It's worth the scholarship to listen to Melanie, because sometimes it's hard. I've studied almost all of this stuff, and just to remember, I don't want to leave anything out because it's cool that it's inexpensive. Selenite $5.94. Here we go. It is found in the form of a colorless to white tubular crystal and needle-like crystal. The mineral provides for clarity of the mind and expanding one's awareness of the self and of one's surrounding. It can be used to access past lives as well as future lives. The future lives being those which are probable at this time. That's what I was talking about. Visions can change. It's just saying it's giving you a peek. If one's physical life proceeds in the direction to which it is now going, the access is provided by rubbing the crystalline structure with a finger or thumb, not a fingernail. And so if you have something like this not polished, it's saying, rub on these that's not polished. See how it's not polished? So it's saying rub like that. If one's physical, the access is provided by rubbing the structure with a finger or thumb, not a fingernail. During this activation process, when the meditative state is attained, the visual image will begin. It should be noted that the access in the future also is compatible to life. One will be presented with situations that are very likely to occur during this life on the plane, again, depending upon the course of progress one chooses. It has been used to decrease reticence and to assist one in the acquisition of materialistic pursuits related to business. It can assist one in the issues of judgments and provide the required insight of ameliorative energies to promote justice during adjudication. It has been used as a sharp sword of awareness, cutting through unconscious assumptions and promoting the reconnection between the consciousness and the mystical ones live with superconsciousness. It's called cutting through ignorance as well. Selenite can be used to provide both flexible to one's nature and strength to one's decision. It allows one to see the inner working of any situation, to understand the superficial and the deeper meaning inherent in same. It also allows one to access the interior of the physical body in order to understand existing disorders, providing information with respect to the fix. It has been used to align the spinal column, allowing the selenite to traverse the spinal column from the base of the spine to the back of the head, seems to remove energy blocks, while traversing in the opposite direction seems to smooth the flow of energy. It also can promote flexibility. I didn't remember that. In the muscular structure, it can be used to provide amelioration of disorders associated with poisonings due to metals in the filing of one's teeth. Wow. Fight MS. Be used to facilitate regeneration of the cellular structure of the protective membrane linings which surround the cells, hence providing a tool to both prevent the outcome damage caused by free radicals. For example, the effects which can overcome include cancer, tumors, age spot, wrinkles, light sensitivity. Selenite can be used to correct disorders and deformities of the skeletal symptoms and to stabilize the epileptic disorders, and vibrate to the number 8, which is probably why I'm so drawn to it. So that's kind of several possibilities, and that's what that is. It's possibilities. So Beer water. Beer water. Is that still going? No. So those are some of the possibilities of using an inexpensive crystal. This piece was once about a foot and a half, 2 feet, $5. So, and I cut them up. So, and maybe I'll go buy some of these and get a saw, send some out or sell some affordably. I'm gonna see if I can buy a little case of royal sugar. See how much that'll cost me too. I mean, crystals ain't the answer for everything, but like sleep paralysis, perfect thing. To keep spirits coming from your windows, that's a very old thing, almost voodoo-ish kind of thing as well. Cutting through ignorance, that is something that the Hindus religion, again, you'll see a Virja, which they call a Parja, which will have possibly one of the 3 heads of Buddha, and you'll see a knife on the bottom. But you'll see selenite knives. Like instead of leaving it in a wand, they'll make it into a knife, and the knife is used to cut through, energies, cut through bullshit. So, good thing for that. Definitely a good thing for that. And it's a very trying to say how I can say the energy comes in. It's not like shungite will be overwhelming. It's really not. It's a very like this will give it a loving energy. It's strong, but it comes in. No, not even saying strong. It's going to come in smoother than the other zolites. It won't give you the love energy, but it's going to give you the smoothness of that and the clarity. So very sweet energy. It's a very sweet energy. And the vortex really can amplify you. It'll protect you and it'll amplify what you do. That's a really good thing. Give you both at the same time, the protection and amplifying your own spiritual strength, awareness. So, yeah. So that's what it can do. There was one thing I did want to bring up. I got to look it up. Here we are, Monday morning, Easter Monday. Do I use rose quartz? Yes, I do use rose quartz. I have a spear in my room that I keep in my room to keep the love. It's on my altar, actually. So I only have one piece. I've given most of my rose quartz away to friends. I'll just meet strangers and give it to them. It just seems like one of the crystals I like sharing with people the most. But yeah, I do. And rose quartz, again, all quartz can be fairly high vibrating using it. Rose quartz has a sweet kind of loving energy, though. It really does, compared to just regular clear quartz. Because clear quartz, all crystals vibrate. Why am I But let me see. I don't get guys that do selfies, but teach his own. Not here. No. I think I've talked about all this stuff. I think, why is this on here twice? Right here. Yeah, right here. I haven't talked about this. I did want to share this. Yeah. Of course, they want to charge you for this stupid shit. False memories can be planted and then reversed, researchers find. German study points to possible technology for recognizing and correcting erroneous recollections. The new study confirms previous research on the malleability of memory. Some earlier findings suggest true memory tends to be stronger than false ones. They were able to plant false memories and then help study volunteers to root them out. Work that suggests potential remedies to ease the problem of errors recollection. How they don't, let me see if they explain how they do it. The scientists used interviews to convince some study subjects they had undergone childhood events that didn't happen to them. You'd have to be some kind of stupid to believe that. Well, you remember that time you kissed Sarah, and you had Sarah back in that barn, and that was you and Sarah. Motherfucker, I don't know no Sarah. Who the fuck is you talking about? I would be breaking that shit down. There's no way they're gonna convince me to some shit. Like I was talking to my brother, and it's funny how I remember this. I told the story how I was kind of partying with my cousin that later got killed boxing on television, and the night we had, and I remember going home and I was just buzzed, and I was young, and I took a shower thinking I'd be slick, and I started playing cards with my brother, and my brother looked at me and said, "Why are your eyes so red?" And my parents busted me out like, "Have you been?" I just told him I was drinking. I didn't tell him I was budding, but he doesn't even remember that. It's funny. My brother didn't even remember that. Like, you remember you bust me out like that? Talking about why your eyes so red? But he didn't remember that. It's just funny. But to him, it wasn't as important. He didn't get, they got on me. They didn't get on him. So he didn't see that what he said had anything to do with it. He was just being honest. Like, nigga, your eyes is red now, and they ain't normally like that. Something's different about you. The researchers say they use other interview techniques to promote the volunteers to reassess memories. Yeah, Mugs couldn't come to me like that and said, "Hey, So I think they interviewed a bunch of dumbass people. It was something else. Maybe it's on my other page. But yeah, there's no way they can convince me some shit. Motherfucker, you better show me some videos and shit showing me that shit was me. Other than that, I think your ass is lying. Funny thing, the Easter and dressing up. That is a funny thing. They hate seeing shit like this. They don't want to be reminded of that. There's a guy in there smiling. Can you see him smiling? See the guy smiling there? He's giving syphilis to people and he's smiling. And you can tell that he's saying this is going so well. You notice all the doctors, and they got military people there. And look at all the people. They're giving these people syphilis so they can learn more about syphilis. Free health. It's the same thing. Free health. You got a guy there smiling. This shit didn't end until the 70s. And you're supposed to trust these people. Like anything is different. Like something's different. It was something else. I guess I've lost it. Oh well. Oh well. I lost it. Oh, my man. Oh my goodness. So, how did you receive your first crystal? My grandmother started polishing stones when I was in 4th or 5th grade. She started polishing stones, and so she gave us each a polished stone. Can't remember, but the crystal that really, the first crystal I really worked with was this one called a fire agate. I have a ring of fire agate and gold. I had to pawn my grandfather's ring because I needed to feed my children, but it was a gold ring, big as this one, with diamonds all around. And I had to feed my children. But this is like when I go in the hospitals, I tend to wear this. Fire agate is a hell of a stone because it deflects any negative energy. That's why it's a great stone if you think you're around enemies. It is a great stone because it's going to, especially spiritual kind of enemies. I mean, a negative energy, it pushes that shit and it will send a reverse spell on people. So if some people throw some bad shit at you, it will catch it and throw it at them and put some shit on their mind and make them question why they sent that shit to you. So this is fire agate, not expensive. But my gold ring, I got a gold ring. Like my grandfather gave me, well, I inherited the ring that he wore like this. So my goal one day is to, buy some gold and mix this in gold and buy some more diamonds and recreate that ring. That's why I bought this ring. So that is what I'm going to do one day. Because this one ain't big enough either. I think that's probably 11 and a half. And I wear like a 12 and a half. So yeah, that was my first crystal that I really got to work with. Because I got that ring. I lost the original ring when Michael Jordan won the championship. I was in Carolina and somebody knocked it off my hand. And it's like 10,000 people in the streets. It's like it was lost. So he gave me another one, but shit, the other one he gave me still was like that ring would have been 40 years. The other one I've had for 30. The one in my room that I keep on Hathor. I borrowed from Hathor now. I let her keep it most of the time. But that ring is still at least 30 years. So I work with those two. Those are the first two, really. Yeah. And then now on this reinventing myself, I guess you could say the first, because I think I said before, I was always looking to get just studying about lightning crystals struck by lightning. And so my first piece of this journey was selenite, which I made into a wand with other crystals. It's a wand, and I put other crystals on it. And so that was my first crystal that I started on this journey of meditating with was selenite. And it helped me get the fractals I get. Yeah. Which were the Virga fractals. Put me in that Virga frame of mind. So that was the first one. Yeah. Because I bought selenite. I've given a lot of those crystals. Other than that one, I think I gave all those. Oh, I bought another strong one is amethyst too, and I've since given that away. Or have I? Let's see. Is that amethyst right here? No, I gave it away. This might be in my desk in my other room. Yeah. So amethyst too. Amethyst was one of the first that I worked with as well. Matter of fact, it's called hourglass amethyst because it's only amethyst in the end. And like a lot of times when they try to give you a citrine, it's just baked amethyst. So don't buy baked citrine. Don't get citrine if it's not like a light yellow color. It's a dark yellow. It's just baked amethyst. They'll still sell it as citrine, but it's created citrine and not natural. Natural citrine costs more. It's going to cost you a little more. Are there any crystals that I don't want? I only ran into one. I bought a crystal down here from a crystal person, and I have her other one, but I bought one, and that crystal, like I had a quartz singing bowl, and back then it was only about $100. They're about $200-300 now, and it fell, and when it fell, it broke in two, but it also broke my singing bowl. It chipped a piece off of it. My son has it; he still uses it. I took it in my bedroom, put it on top of each other, didn't fix it, and it broke another crystal. So I gave my son half, I gave one of my neighbors half. But that was the first crystal that it was upset that it was broken. And so it decided since it got broken, it was going to break other crystals. And the thing about it, crystals are like glass. I mean, like even this big pretty piece has chips pieced off of it. I mean, it's just how it happens. I've never just taken a crystal and just slammed it on the ground. Even that one is just somebody bumped into it, and that's all that's happened. But so that crystal seemed to have a little negative energy. But I mean, these are like glass, so they break. And it's like, I try to be as careful as possible. It hurts me when they break. But I think the best example of one of my strong crystals being broken is, okay, it's in the hat. Okay. But it's just, you don't mean to. So that was fluoride. But I think I gave all my other fluoride away. I think I gave my mother my other big piece. So I do need some more fluoride. So I don't really, that's the only crystal I ever came across that I would say had a little negativity in it. And then I think, being broken, it decided it was going to break other crystals. So, yeah. And perhaps I didn't cleanse it well enough. I don't know, which sometimes maybe I didn't. Anoint. That's what I can do to crystals. You anoint them and then give them to somebody. Putting sound on them, putting oils on them. You anoint them, and then you give it to people. That clears them pretty good. And then one thing I do also is when I give crystals to people, I tell the crystal that it'll be traveling with them, and I tell the people to do the same thing, cleanse it, and everything. But I tell the crystal before I give it to people, and I tell them their role. Like the one I'm about to get my dad, I'm going to tell him its role and what I expect from it. It's like my mother has a lot of Buddhism stuff, and my friend and I were over there. She grew up in India, so she's quite intrigued seeing all this in my mother's house. But it's like me and her was talking. And I was like, I have to get on this stuff because she has headaches and stuff. And I'm like, why is all this stuff there? You have all this stuff that's supposed to be one of the greatest healers and cures, and why ain't you doing that? I'm to the point where I've started putting some of this stuff up, so you guys got to activate. Or what's the point of you being in here? Now I've had the same conversation with her. I'm like, this stuff ain't working right. What's the point of it being here? Well, I like it. Well, it's got to be more than you like it. So that was the fluoride was the only one, but I've had I gave my daughter a piece. I had a fluoride plate that I gave my daughter. So, but overall, not overall. I've got. I mean, just on this table. Damn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15, 16, 20. I can count about 50 crystals just right all around me. It's like 50 crystals right all around me. So I have hundreds. I have hundreds of crystals. They're everywhere. Yeah. Yep. Well, guys, I think I'm going to call it for tonight. Remember, I won't be on tomorrow night, but I will be doing the chocolate sports show right before the game. So I think the game is prime time, I'm pretty sure. So I'll be doing the chocolate sports show with commentary during the game to point out the time of the manipulation. So we'll have timestamps of when the manipulation occurred in the games. For like Draco, if you still watching, or people that do better than me, that's how we're going to look at it. We're going to start time stamping when this happened. So people want to go back and check the shots out. Time stamping it will show when you go back and do your own research. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. So, and I appreciate the people that can move the work further. I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. I know my limitations. And Draco makes the work look good. I appreciate that. So support him, those that like sports. Again, I'm not going to let anyone attack anyone else. That was my only problem with the one brother. Like, I don't have a channel for that. I don't sit on here attacking motherfuckers. They come to me and want to tell me they can uplift my channel if I start attacking a motherfucker. Why would I do that? It ain't that important to me that I'm going to speak down on another brother that ain't never did nothing to me because the motherfucker mad he's shining. But that's the same people that you shine will try to take you down, because these had to be people from Google. So, but that brother, I ain't got nothing to say. He cracks me up. I think he's very humorous, and but I would never go at him like the brother went after Johnson. Yeah, Johnson was foul, but fuck, if it was anybody's business to make a career out of pointing this man's imperfections, like you are perfect. That's how he went about it. So the motherfuckers had problems. Who cares? Don't send the motherfucker money. That's on you. You sent this motherfucker money. And yes, okay, times point out corruption, point out fraud. If it was so much fraud, they'd arrest him for it. Just have better judgment and money you invest in people. That's all. That's what most people should do. I mean, the man sounded good. Some of his early works, I mean, me and Sly definitely had an argument or this debate about that. Wasn't an argument, a debate on, he was saying a lot of his early work was good. So it's like all of them, you know, a lot of them New York cats. Do you just look at all the work as just because some part of their personalities is fucked up? Do you look at the rest of the work as being fucked up? Not necessarily. There's some value in some people. You know, you just have to look at them before they were compromised. That's how you got to look at it. Say, okay, this man ain't compromised. He's compromised. Because I've heard some of these dudes claim some shit, and then, I'm like, yeah, that ain't true. He making that shit up. Like, I catch motherfuckers that these false shits, and then, they say they catch certain people in the spiritual realm, and I'm like, nobody died, motherfucker, so you didn't see nobody, so you're lying. You're lying. It makes me just think, okay, you talk about some false shit that I know ain't real, and then you saying you seen them in the spiritual realm. Yeah. And that makes you say, okay, this person is faking. He's faking. That's all. We're going to make, Sebastian, we're going to definitely make money. Smoke Tree, anytime. Thank you for the questions. Thank you. Yeah, Sebastian, I'm going to make money tonight. I made a little bit of money in the girls' games, But yeah, I'll make money today for sure. I just don't. I see Baylor winning. I just don't see him giving it to a mid-major. Maybe I'm wrong. And maybe some people look at Gonzaga as a major college, but they don't play in a major league. Their league is not a major league. They are a mid-major college. Now, yes, they were the spoiler college the last 20 years, but they are mid-major. They're still a mid-major. And they ain't let any other mid-major. A mid-major has not won it since 66 Texas Western. From 67 on, UCLA. Then it goes Arkansas, 1-1. Duke won a couple. UNLV, they ain't mid-majors. They're major schools. Tony Smith went to UNLV in the 70s from Saginaw. So it wasn't a mid-major. Not like Western Michigan. It was mid-major. Kent State, Bowling Green, those are mid-majors. Marshall, those are all mid-majors. Boise State, mid-major. So Baylor has the most depth. Well, Baylor comes from a major school. But I don't know. I don't know if Baylor has the guns that Gonzaga. Gonzaga got some dudes. Them two dudes, Timmy and the other brother, they can go, and Suggs can go. They can go. They've got some talented people. So it's going to be interesting. If I think they can outscore Baylor. I do. So it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments are made other than the script. Of course, we're going to see the script. So, but this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Edward is Timeless. And as always, end with Eshawn's poem. So I'm not a New York rapper or a LA gang banger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. I make more money. My pockets like sunshine. They're always sunny. I know that I will never go to heaven. That's why I always carry 357s. You can be free just like me if you want to be. You can be free just like me if you want to be. With the power of love, anything is possible. Thank you all. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. 8 Wind is Timeless. Till we meet again.